Okay. You all should be able to hear me on YouTube now. Let me know. Y'all should be able to hear me on YouTube now. Hello. I just fixed the sound on YouTube. Let me know. Is it working yet? Awesome. Hey, y'all. I don't know why I can't get this light. Oof. Jesus. It just now I look like alien forehead. I don't know. We just gonna let it be though. We're just gonna let it be. Yay! Y'all can hear me on YouTube. Hello, welcome everybody. We're here. I'm here, you're here. I hope you're here for the reading for this new moon in Sidereal Gemini. If you are new here, if this is your first time here in the congregation, amongst the Divination for Liberation family and friend, welcome, and Usher will come by with a program to properly welcome you. Yes. The word for today is wisdom is better than silver and gold, ? Is wisdom better than silver or gold? I don't know. Do you know? Y'all listen. I have been on my bibliomancy situation here, and when was this? Saturday? Sat down with my Bible, and I was like, let's see what's what for this new moon. Before I go there, everybody, pull out your 2022 Sidereal Astrology Guide. We're going to go back to the back of the guide where we've got our fill in the blanks. And for the new moon, June 28th, it says planting seeds of curiosity. I'm gonna tell you right now from the jump, curiosity is the medicine for gaslighting and propaganda. It's gonna be what's gonna make you whole. Curiosity is your balm in Gilead in 2022. Curiosity is the medicine for scammers. Curiosity is what's going to protect you from being scammed. Curiosity is the key that opens the door to discernment. We're planting seeds for curiosity at this new moon. And so, let me tell y'all, I ain't even going to read the whole passage to you. I just want to make sure that I quote the scripture passage correctly. And I wrote it in my notes, so let me just check it real quick so I can give you the good. The passage that I opened to as I was divining for a word for this new moon was 1 Kings chapter 10. This is about to blow y'all minds. It blew my mind. It's been blowing my mind all weekend into the week, and I'm just ready to share it with you. All right, so we know, right? We have been taught and told that Solomon was the most wise man that ever existed. We were taught that Solomon prayed for wisdom, and God was just dropping wisdom bombs on homie, just like boom, 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 boom. And he comprised all of this wisdom that he was blessed with divinely in the book of Proverbs, right? This is what we're taught. We also know that Solomon was rich as hell. Solomon was balling. Solomon was the Bill Gates of biblical times. He just had stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks, right? This is what we're taught about Solomon. He was so smart. And so I'm like, let me see what 1 King is talking about. And it's talking about Queen of Sheba. It's talking about how Queen of Sheba had heard about how wise Solomon was. And so when you read about Queen of Sheba going to visit Solomon, first thing on your mind is like, oh, she about to ask him for the key to life. Queen of Sheba about to go visit the wisest man. She got an audience with the wisest man on earth. She about to get the keys to the kingdom. She got her notebook, her scribes with they, tablets and hammers and things, right? Right? Queen of Sheba about to have the audience with the wisest man. She really about to go to town and just like Right. What you read, Solomon, let me know what was the prayer. You know, Sierra prayed the prayer for Russell Wilson. You thinking Queen of Sheba getting the audience with the wisest man. She'd be like, yo, Solomon, what was the prayer you prayed? Let me know, because I want to try that out. Right. But that is not what she did. When the Queen of Sheba showed up at one of Solomon's dwellings, because he had many, she was like, yeah. You real smart, but dang. You got gold, you got food, you got thrones and shrines and temples, you got the chain, you got the crown. Bruh, let me find out King Solomon ballin'. Let me find out. So, Queen of Sheba does not ask him for the keys to the kingdom. She ain't trying to get the Solomon prayer for the wisdom. Instead, Queen of Sheba is so enamored with Solomon's wealth that she's like, here, take all of this gold, take all of these things. And the richest dude is balling. And she's just like, yo, take all of this stuff, have it. And so when I'm reading that, I'm just like, this just really don't sound right. I'm like, this sounds, if I was going to have an audience with the wisest man on earth at the time, I ain't bringing no gold. I ain't bringing no food. I'm going to bring a gift because it's probably appropriate. I'm going to bring a modest gift. But all my chariots going to be scribes. I'm going to have all the scribes with me ready to take notes if I'm seeing the wisest man on earth at the time. But Queen of Sheba came bearing gifts. She witnessed his wealth, his material wealth, and gave him more. And this reminded me of celebrity culture. It reminded me of celebrity culture and how we assign all types of knowledge and wisdom and smarts and intellect to wealthy people. Do y'all remember that time there was a debate on Twitter and they were talking about you taking $55,000 or whatever, $500,000 or brunch with Jay-Z, and they like, yeah, man, nah, skip that money. I'm taking brunch with Jay-Z. Why? Because we assign wisdom and knowledge to people who are wealthy. Teach me your game, bruh. Show me how you do it. Show me how you got rich. You smart. You got rich. Show me. Right? This is what we do. And so the question is, this is what Solomon wrote. I didn't write it, but what Solomon wrote is, wisdom is better than silver and gold. Yet I see a little contradiction here, because when Queen of Sheba came and dropped all them gifts on him, knowing he got more than enough, he didn't say, man, thank you, I will accept this small portion, but it's inappropriate for me to accept all of these gifts. Nah, it was only right that he added to his coffers his wisdom. It makes me wonder, was Solomon really smart, or was he just rich? Which one is it? And here's the thing. Not only do we assign the value of being wise and intellectually smart to people who have managed somehow to accumulate wealth in capitalism, we also devalue the wisdom that doesn't come in the package of wealth. We devalue it. We say, I've had it say to me, just go read the comments on my TikTok posts calling out celebrity culture consumerism at a time such as this. And the responses are, I must be jealous. I must be jealous of this incredibly wealthy woman, right? That if what this person who has wealth and visibility and power in the capitalist structure, in the anti-Black structure, what she says is more valuable than little old me. Is wisdom really better than silver and gold? Or is wisdom only wisdom if it gets you silver and gold? Are the wise only wise if they have silver and gold? Are the wise only wise when they have managed to have a measure of power and success in capitalism? This is why curiosity is the medicine for propaganda. Curiosity is your best weapon of protection, your shield of protection in this times of desperation. Curiosity, that's what we're planting seeds for at this new moon in Sidereal Gemini. We're planting seeds for curiosity because we need to reconsider what we define as wisdom. See, wisdom is not just knowing some things. Wisdom is about having the ability to apply what you know at the proper place, at the proper time. Wisdom is not just the accumulation of knowledge and facts. Wisdom is recognizing the context that gives those knowledge and facts meaning. And it's an ear to the signs of the time to know when that knowledge needs to be applied. Is wisdom better than silver and gold, or is wisdom only valuable when it leads you to silver and gold? This is the question. Who is wise? Who has the medicine to help us make sense of this time? Is it those who have succeeded and have power in the very system we are now awakening to? The violence of this system, the violence of capitalism, the terror of whiteness, the violence and dominance of patriarchy. Here, let me just tell it to you up front right here. In patriarchy, people with penises have power. And let me tell you, wisdom, power, these things are not as separate as you think they are in capitalism. They're very much conflated because, see, we're trying to survive dominance and terror and exploitation. And so we assign the status of wise to those who have managed to be the exploiter rather than the exploited. We assign the title of wise to those who have managed to get into the position of dominator rather than dominated. We say those who enact the terror are wise rather than those who are terrorized. We expect wisdom to flow out of the mouths of billionaires. We hang on every word that they say because we strive to be the exploiter rather than the exploited. Wisdom and power cannot be separated here, but I'm going to tell you, if we're going to make it through the rest of 2022 and beyond, you got to figure it out for yourself. Is wisdom better than silver and gold, or is wisdom only wise when it gets you silver and gold? Are you trying to not work, or are you trying to control and exploit the labor of those who can work for you? Are you trying to escape and abolish the terror of whiteness, or are you trying to get adjacent to whiteness so that you don't have to be subject to the terror? Are you trying to abolish the dominance and the violence associated with patriarchy, or are you trying to get a leg up and get next to patriarchy? Do you fawn and say, wow, look what you have to say? Look at it, Elon Musk. Dumb as a bag of rocks, thinking you can build an underground tunnel to escape hurricanes in New Orleans, where the water table is so high, you're managed to see fountains spewing out the street at any moment in any place. Dumb as a bag of rocks, but folks hanging on every word that he says, that if Elon Musk says it, we must reconsider the laws of gravity. We must reconsider the laws of physics that we have been living under for as long as we could make sense of it. If Beyonce says it, skip the on the street organizers, the on the ground grassroots folks who are in the midst of the struggles with the intimacy of your struggle. If they say it, you ain't got time for it. But Beyonce says it. She ain't even got no remedy for your hunger should you end up in precarity following her advice. But I promise you, look to your left and look to your right. Who's in the struggle with you? Can you find the wisdom in your own experience? Can you extrapolate meaning from your own experience in a way that makes all of this shit make sense? Or are you waiting for someone to come tell you what it means? And how will you know if they can be trusted? If wisdom is in fact better than silver and gold, then we really need to reconsider and press reset on a lot of things. Because even if you manage to make it in academic institutions, yeah, a few gonna get a leg up, but the rest of us gonna have to pay for it. And we gonna spend the rest of our lives paying for it. But if wisdom is better than silver or gold, then that means them institutions ain't got nothing to really tell you other than how to uphold their power. See, in capitalism, you have to always question the intention. You have to question why. And the why is always profit. The why is always to get you to buy. The why is always to get you to work so you won't stop buying. And I promise you, if that is the little kernel of wisdom that you apply to everything, everything go make sense. Abortion, labor. They're banning abortion, it's because they need labor. Selling you your own oppression. And here's the thing. This is how I know y'all don't really believe that wisdom is better than silver and gold. Because you spend the majority of time trying to conceal the fact that you ain't got no silver and gold so that people don't think you're stupid. So that people don't think you're dumb and unwise. See, we think that poverty is a consequence of stupidity, dumb choices. We think houselessness is due to a lack of wisdom. We think being subject to assault and violence is due to lack of knowledge and wisdom to make the right choices. This is how I know y'all really don't believe wisdom is better than silver or gold. And I don't think Solomon really believed it too, because if he did, he would have given all of that up in pursuit of knowledge. He would have given all of that up. He would have rejected those gifts because he really didn't need any more. See, they wasn't really trying to hear what Jesus had to say either. Jesus came back into Jerusalem on a donkey. And they like, Messiah, Messiah, Hosanna, Hosanna. And Rome like, excuse me? This fool on a donkey? What? You gotta be kidding me. What Jesus came with the goods. Jesus was laying it down. But because he wasn't a Pharisee, because he didn't have power in the existing political and economic structure, they wasn't trying to hear what he had to say. Like, yes, Jesus was the equivalent of middle class. Jesus wasn't poor, but at the same time, he didn't have political power. He wasn't advocating for conforming to their colonizers. He was saying, no, don't you see that you have been colonized and oppressed? I'm trying to get you free, but they wasn't trying to hear what Jesus had to say. Meanwhile, we still quoting Proverbs 31, 2,000 something years later. Patriarchy on patriarchy on patriarchy. And y'all gonna tell me Solomon was wise? Come on now. Is wisdom really better than silver or gold? And how you gonna get to wisdom? Again, wisdom is the knowing the right time to apply the knowledge you have. It's not about how much knowledge you have. It's not about how many degrees you have. It's not about whether you got into the PhD program or did enough research. It's not about any of that. Can you take what you do know and apply it at the appropriate time? Because you can accumulate all of the knowledge like Encyclopedia Brown. And yet, we have access to the most information any human has had ever in the existence of humanity. People know how to read words. I'm not going to say they're literate, but they know how to read and spell some words. Having come through the information age, is so much information available. But see, here's where that gets you messed up. See, some folks think that if they Google and watch some YouTube videos and read a few books, they'll be able to do open heart surgery. Come on now. But the wise can recognize their own limitations. See, wisdom is also about recognizing the limits of your own comprehension and being able to say, ooh, you know what? I don't know. Or, ooh, you know what? This doesn't make sense to me. And maybe it won't. Maybe it's beyond your comprehension. Maybe you need to ask somebody else. But see, if you ask somebody else, you got to reckon with this. Wisdom is better than silver or gold, because you're going to be thinking somebody's wise just because they got a 401k or can fly to tell them when they want. Is wisdom really better than silver or gold? I don't know. Let's do some tarot. We've got the Afro Tarot 2 by Jesse Jumanji, who, if y'all seen their recent post, man, I don't know who did Jumanji. I don't know if it's Disney. One of these old greedy corporations told them that they can no longer use Jumanji as part of their brand name. So I believe it's Jesse Ujazu, something like that. Anyways, we are in dire need of wisdom. We are drowning in information, lacking the capacity to comprehend and recognize the limits of our own understanding. We are drowning in foolishness because we have allowed those who already had the power of capital to be in positions of power as if access to capital means wisdom. No, it just means you have no moral conscience. I'm going to say that again. We lift up folks who have access to capital into positions of power because we think that they are wise or at the very least intelligent, when in fact all it means is that they have no moral compass. They are very comfortable with exploiting other folks. Their sole goal is to be in the position of exploiter. And yes, they are and will exploit you who have lifted them up into that position of power. We are drowning in foolishness because we have lost our capacity for meaning making. We live in a binary of believing everything we see and hear or believing nothing we see and hear. But there's another way. There's the wisdom of your body that wants to keep you alive, that gives you enough skepticism to question what it is that you hear and see, gives you enough skepticism to recognize that your capacity of sight and your ears are the most manipulated faculties that you have. We have all been groomed and conditioned to value the faculty of eyesight over all other means of knowing. That even when we get that niggling vibration in our belly that's coming out as nausea, we're going to ignore it because our ears and eyes are telling us something different. Our body's going to be the first to disagree with the consensus, but we don't want to be seen as insane. We don't want that. Because we know that the truth of our bodies is going to contradict with the constant propaganda and manipulation that comes in through our eyes and ears. And so when your body is telling you, I don't know about that, we go and just look for more information to try to quiet and silence our bodies, rather than giving our bodies the microphone for a second and say, hey, what it is that you got to say to me. I'm ready to hear you. See, the wisdom of our bodies is the very thing that connects us to the past and present. Inside these bodies is that DNA of ancestors who managed to survive. Inside these bodies is the wisdom that can't be quantified. There is no PhD or master's program, and you can't get a certificate for it. And no, you can't get no silver and gold in exchange for it either, but I promise you can get life. I promise you can get love. I promise you can tap into sharing the burden of survival. Curiosity, that's the medicine for this moment. We must find that sweet spot between blanket skepticism and gullibility. And we must recognize the ways our indoctrination makes us deny and not even consider the wisdom available to us at this moment, which is, what does my body have to say? And maybe it don't mean what I thought it always meant. See, what the indoctrination does is when you hear something new, rather than saying, that's interesting, what do you mean? Can you tell me more? Your indoctrination says you already know the answer. I've been telling you from day one that if you just work hard and get a better job and get a better salary and get a higher minimum wage, you'll make it. You won't suffer the insecurity. You won't suffer the anti-Blackness. You won't suffer the stain of being an immigrant. If you just accumulate the knowledge, and our institutions will give you some silver and gold, you'll be wise. I'm going to cut the deck here, and let's see what these cards have to say. We've got the Two of Staffs, which was the card that I drew after cutting at the full moon in Scorpio 2 weeks ago, if you remember. Two of Staffs, Two of Wands. This is about power. This is about dominion. Dominion, domain, dominate. Dominion is about power and responsibility. But in this society, from the very beginning, we are indoctrinated. The only power you have is whiteness. You're not white, too bad. Maybe you're male, not male, too bad. Maybe you're cisgender, ooh, not cisgender, too bad. Maybe you're heterosexual, ooh, not heterosexual, dang it, too bad for you. But the way that most of us deal with our lack of power, because we're not white or bright enough, we're not cisgendered, we're not male, we're not heterosexual. See, the way that we seduce those who are white or close enough to it, the way that we conceal, or at least try to put a little sheen over our not being male, the way that we try to dress up our not being heterosexual is by class striving. Striving for affluence. Striving to be in the position of the exploiter rather than the exploited. Striving to be in the position of the dominator rather than the dominated. We strive to accumulate as much capital as possible, because then maybe our blackness won't offend. Then maybe they won't notice that we're trans. Maybe the fact that we're not male won't bother them as much. Maybe our not being heterosexual won't be perceived as much of a threat if we can accumulate some capital. We've got the Seven of Cups. Seven of Vessels, Seven of Cups. One of the things about mutable signs, which are Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. Right now, we've got Jupiter in Pisces and Sun and Moon conjoined in Gemini at the new moon, right? This is about certainty. That's the gift. The gift of all sidereal mutable signs is certainty. And so with those signs, we ask, well, how do I know what I know? And either you know it because you read it in a book or you heard someone else say it, Gemini. Maybe you know it because you measured it and calculated and accumulated enough measurable, quantifiable data in a spreadsheet to get a median or average. Maybe you're a Democrat and you're liberal. And so you know what you know based on your convictions, based on the meaning that you assign because of the prejudgment you have internalized about the way that the world works. Sagittarius. Or maybe you know because your body told you. Maybe you know because even though you heard some words and they threw some graphs and figures in front of your face, your body said, nah, I don't know about that. Maybe all along you thought that you can make it. Maybe all along you thought that your whiteness was going to protect you from patriarchy. Maybe all along you thought that your cisgenderedness was going to protect your bodily autonomy. Maybe all along you thought that they weren't coming for you because you're smart and you have a PhD, or you work hard for your money and you're a tax-paying citizen, but your indoctrination is concealing the wisdom available to you in this moment. See, your indoctrination says, I already know. They prepared me for encountering this information. And so what it means to me is what they told me it means. I'm just gonna work harder. I'm just gonna conceal my queerness. I'm just going to leave the country because I'm not going to be here anymore. I'm going to take my privilege and my power and my capital someplace else that America has dominated and the European colonial project has raped and pillaged. Where is the real source of your power? Where is the real source of your power? We're talking about is wisdom better than silver and gold? You ain't got no silver and gold. And at this point, they're doing everything in their power to make sure that you don't get no more and what you got is going to dwindle away. So what's it going to be? Seven of Cups is the card of uncertainty. It's the place that we come to when all of our indoctrination is no longer making things make sense. The Seven of Cups is what we come to when the square peg can't fit in the round hole and we try to make it make sense, but the cognitive dissonance is too much to bear. The Seven of Cups is what we come to when we can no longer silence the screams and cries of our bodies because it is telling us a truth that's contradicting the words that we hear. The Seven of Cups is where we arrive when the math ain't mathing. And no matter how many times you try to carry the one divided by two, it ain't mathing. The Seven of Cups is where we land when no matter how hard we try to make it make sense, ain't no sense to be had. All of the reasons and the whys and the wherefores don't apply anymore. And so we're left to think, am I dumb? No, you're in a cult. And you are awakening to this fact at this very moment that you are in a white, capitalist, patriarchal cult that has conditioned and groomed you from day one to fawn in the face of white terror, to bow down on your knees to patriarchy, and to do your best to never be one of the poors. And so now you're waking up to realize that no matter how hard you worked, you did it all the right way. You followed all the steps in the order that they told you to follow them. And they still took away your right to abortion. You did everything right. Why are you suffering? Why are they doing this to you? Because it's not about you. At this new moon, Jupiter and Pisces says, you better zoom out if you know what's best for you. You better take that lens and pull it back. And you better take it off and put your wide lens on so that you can connect the dots. You see this Seven of Cups? Sis is trying to make it make sense. She's trying to figure out the connections. Why? And it is because whiteness has one goal and one goal only, and it is to dominate. Pull the lens back. Connect the dots. See, if the abuse you experience at the hands of your parents is because your parents are just bad people, it means that your nervous system can rest easy. Because if it's just your parents who are bad, you don't have to worry about being exploited and abused anywhere else you go. If they're only doing it to women or trans people, then you don't have to worry because you're not a woman and you're not trans. And maybe if you're a woman, you're white. And so you think that's going to protect you. And so here you are, all in your little silo, trying to shield your mind and your self-image from the reality that it is not about you. There is no protection to be had. If you think that your identity protects you from anything, it is a temporary delusion. Pull the lens back and connect the dots. That is what the Seven of Cups is asking you to do. If you have arrived at this moment at a loss for words, speechless, unable to believe that they actually struck down the right to privacy, the precedent that upheld Roe versus Wade, if you've gotten to this moment and you're in a stupor of confusion, pull the lens back. Get your head out of your ass. Your identity is a belief system. It is a part of the cult. It is the identity that you have been groomed to fulfill to the best of your ability because they told you that it was going to protect you from moments like this. Pull the lens back. Connect the dots. If wisdom is really better than silver and gold, you better stop letting them celebrities tell you anything about who you are and your struggle. You better stop letting those folks who have exploited for generations, you and your ancestors, don't let them tell you what's what. Don't let them tell you what's what. If wisdom is really better than silver and gold, what's the thread that's connecting these things? Here we are. Here we are. We're planting seeds for curiosity. And the Seven of Cups says your first step, your power in this moment is to admit and confess with your mouth, it ain't making sense. The math ain't mathing. I heard you, but my body says no. I'm skeptical. I don't believe you. Whatever it is that you told me up to this point ain't making sense. And I'm not going to let you gaslight me any further. See, what gaslighting is, it makes you distrust your faculties and to lean into one of your faculties of knowing, often at the expense of another. The age of information, the explosion of media over the 20th century, and to arrive here where we have so much information. We have been indoctrinated, conditioned, and groomed to see President Biden's tweets talking about how the economy is stronger than it's ever been. We have been groomed to see that and to give him the benefit of the doubt because of his position of power, and to consider that he knows something that you don't know. If Elon Musk or Jay-Z comes on that Bird apps and tweets something, even if it don't make sense to you, you are willing to suspend your disbelief because their position of power in white capitalist patriarchy says maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe I need to suspend my disbelief at this moment and maybe just try to hear them out and give them a little bit more time to explain themselves. Or maybe we'll disregard what they've said altogether and said, oh, but I know what they meant. And that's because you want to hear what you want to hear, so you don't have to acknowledge the fact that these folks are dumb as a box of rocks. They are ignorant to who you are. They are ignorant to your struggle and your experience. They could not tell you anything about you. And like I said in my previous video, you are confused. You don't know who you are. And because you don't know who you are, you participate in your own gaslighting. You say that does not apply to me because I am not a woman. Well, because I don't want to have any children, lack of access to abortion doesn't mean anything to me. I don't have a uterus. I don't care. Right? Listen, man. Listen, man. This is your moment. This is your time. Wake it up. Whatever it is you believed about the way that the world worked up until this point, that ain't it. It does not apply. The context is not what they told you it was. And the ability to uphold that context in the face of reality is getting harder and harder and harder. The cognitive dissonance is getting so loud you can't hear nothing they're saying to you. Listen to the dissonance. It's telling you that the math ain't mathing. The dissonance is the sound of your indoctrination crumbling and the truth of the fact that you are in a cult breaking through. Can you hear the sound? Can you hear it? Can you hear in between the lies? Can you feel? Can you see the dots and the thread that connects them? Is not free will. It's not work harder. It's not grind now, sleep later. It's you're in a cult. Wake up. This is our moment. This is our time to get out. This is Divination for Liberation, y'all. If this is your first time here for a new moon reading, I hope you got what you came to get, and I hope you got what you didn't know you was coming to get, right? I'll be back here in 2 weeks with a reading for the full moon in Sidereal Sagittarius, which says embodying the truth. That means the truth is in your body, right? Right? If you have enjoyed what you've gotten here today, you can find my Cash App and PayPal links on thepeoplesoracle.com. Click donation. You can also support me by purchasing things from my online shop. I'm gonna do a little Q&A today. So my friends who are on YouTube, you can come join me on Instagram. I'm going to shut down this live, and then I'm gonna start a new one after I catch myself a little sip of sparkling water and turn off these lights. And I'm gonna do a little Q&A. I ain't doing no readings for nobody, but I will do a Q&A. Love y'all so much. I will see y'all again soon, okay? All right? Oh, before you go, if you don't have your 2022 Sidereal Astrology Guide, you tripping. Go to peoplesoracle.com right now and click shop and get it. And then I want to see you this Saturday at 11:30 a.m. on Zoom. We're going to be reviewing April through June. And if you have any questions about how to use the guide, how the guide works and functions, please come join us. It's $10. It will be facilitated by me and Winter MX Mercury, and you will get to experience the love and joy of the Divination for Liberation community. Also coming up on July 6th is Imagine Us Free #2. We're going to be talking about the rebuttals to imagination. I got a question for y'all, so come with your notebooks. Get ready to discuss. We are going to imagine ourselves free. Thank you for coming. See y'all later.